everybody. It's Tom on Global CE Day, and I have Dr. Jitentar Sharma here from India. Jitentar, welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for having me.
Well, I know you've had a long day, so we'll jump right into it. Tell us about, your job in recent years.
My job in recent years is mix of everything as much as yours. Um, um, Number one would be my role as the founder, CEO, and managing director of AMTZ, a baby that we collectively built. It's perhaps the world's first medical devices manufacturing ecosystem. It's a mini city spread across 8 miles, consisting of hundreds of factories, scores of labs, and the manufacturing ecosystem. My second role is the executive director of Kalam Institute, which is the technology policy unit for the federal government of India. Besides this comes with the role as facilitator for accreditation of human resources in clinical engineering and some support to the startups and incubation centers.
So, man, I'm dizzy just thinking about all those things, Jitentar, and not too bad at age 39, brother. Uh, so making medical devices in India, regulating it, and peopling it. Okay, I got it. So what's been happening during COVID? I know a lot's been going on for you guys there.
So the COVID obviously brought out some things that were positive for the healthcare sector and some things that were not positive for the healthcare sector. Let me start with things that are positive. That's attention to health and well-being is something that is happening as we speak. This attention to health and well-being has obviously led to higher demands of certain medical products like diagnostics, PPEs, N95 masks, thermometers, and so on. What is not so good is that we are losing citizens who were otherwise healthy. Yeah. And what is also not something very good is that we are neglecting, obviously partly due to the lockdowns globally, but also because of the resource constraint, our attention on many other diseases and treatment profiles, like, for example, cancer and cardiovascular diseases. Because not many of the patients who need care are now getting care because either hospitals are full or there is lockdown. In our role, we support the formulation of standards on key medical products that are used for COVID, like PPEs and N95 masks, ventilators, and so on. And in our role as AMTZ, we also support in manufacturing. We manufacture about 100 ventilators a day, about 300,000 COVID diagnostic kits a day, 500 thermometers a day, about 50,000 N95 masks a day, and so on, besides our other routine work of manufacturing. The challenge is not just to meet the demand that we have in India, but given that India is a supplier of pharmaceutical products globally, to fulfill our role as a supplier of affordable and good quality medical products for global needs. That's what is happening in COVID besides the routine work.
Well, I know, the list really is long, and you're modest. That iLab project, I know, is pretty cool too. Tell us about that for a moment.
It's a laboratory on the wheels. So globally, many sample collection units were set up over vehicles or four wheel, and these vehicles support in collection of samples, nasal swabs or throat samples. But there is no such automobile that can actually support in testing, live testing and reporting, because testing requires the RT-PCR system, biosafety cabinet, laminar flow, air handling unit, and a clean room. And what we did is we took a chassis of Ben's vehicle and built a lab over it, which now goes around in rural areas, not just doing sample collection, but testing and reporting. And that has been one of the super successful interventions we have been able to bring in.
PCR testing on wheels, I love it.
Absolutely.
So back in July, you were the lead speaker in our program on innovation, and you were talking because you had not only conceived of the various different manufacturers' designs for an innovative ventilator to meet India's needs and beyond, as you just said, but you had, back in July, two of those vendors, the products were already being manufactured and getting out to your population. Can you give us an update?
Yes, we have been aiming to produce everything for which the demand has been put forward to us. Ventilators, COVID diagnostic kits, thermometers, N95 mask, PPEs, as I told you.
Right.
But what is interesting is the needs of the health system is much broader than COVID. And that needs include, for example, provision of ultrasonography machines, cardiac surgery systems, multiple other commodities. And the ecosystem that we have, and we have been fortunate to have you with us during its inauguration, which was held along with the Global Forum, WHO Global Forum on Medical Devices in 2018. We were privileged to have all of you here. But the ecosystem we have built has actually now got into deep forward and backward linkages. Now, as a clinical engineer, you would know that to build a ventilator, for example, we need sensors: the temperature sensor, the pressure sensor, the oxygen sensor, the many other microcontrollers, boards. Now, any country or region that does not have sufficient supply of these sensors, for example, cannot make ventilators or any medical device, for that example. What we have done is that we have put together these partnerships in the zone. So we have people who do molding, EMI/EMC testing, sensor manufacturing, printed circuit board assembly, and multiple other things that makes medical device manufacturing successful. In the same way, forward linking of the products, like its ability to meet standards, getting tested in accredited labs that comes with a mock of quality, and it's being able to fulfill the specifications of procurement authorities, are the forward linkages. So the medical device manufacturing and affordable creation of medical products has the streamline of forward and backward linkages, which makes us successful. And perhaps we are an example how global, national, and regional bodies and institutions could come together to make these not just a center of excellence, but but uh, but humongous ecosystems that can today meet affordably the global needs.
Jatinder, there's a lot of things we could talk about. I know one of your favorites is the whole credentialing business, and you've set that up across so many different types of jobs in the healthcare and the biomedical engineering space. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, thanks, Tom. Someone like you never forgets to emphasize on human resource capacity building, because only someone like you who has seen so much in life around clinical engineering globally can really appreciate and know the importance of the role human resources play. Now, human resources in medical technology range right from a lab technician that uses a machine to a technician that produces kits, for example, or a biomedical engineer that does installation of RT-PCR system, for example, in a hospital, and an R&D unit that tests those machines, or an accredited notified laboratory that does the standards evaluation of our technology. So while the training and educational profile of the biomedical and clinical engineers could be the same across these job roles, the job roles of a biomedical engineers are very different, because a clinical engineer can work in an R&D lab or a manufacturing unit or a hospital or a clinic and so on, or doing maintenance, for example, which is extremely important. Now, interchangeably, many countries use the terminologies of clinical and biomedical engineers, but for the sake of harmonization, let's just call them healthcare technologists, which is a technology profile that suits and supports healthcare provisioning. Now, these these human resources, as valuable as they are, need constant upgradation of their skills, needs accreditation of their skills so that they are not put to discrimination on remuneration, and also needs a parity vis-a-vis the skill building ecosystem in the country and globally for that matter. Now, what we have done is we have created the Indian Biomedical Skill Council along with industry and the Quality Accreditation Institute of India, uh, along with AMTZ, of course. We have now 55 accreditation centers across the country, and post-COVID online for as many people as apply. These credentialing institutions, centers, support biomedical and clinical engineers, healthcare technologists to choose job roles which are approved by National Skill Development Agency. So right from a program, we converted ourselves in a year's time to a technical secretariat and a larger mission. And that mission now has accreditation from the National Skill Development Agency, making it an authorized body to support assessment, training, and accreditation of human resources that are engaged in clinical engineering. We see it as a huge success because we started it about 2.5 years ago. And in a country to have a new program accredited by the National Skill Development Agency and use it as a tool to further the perfection in clinical engineering is something humongous, which we have been able to achieve with the support of our partners.
Well, it's still early here, but I'm already tired listening to all the stuff you've been doing. I mean, tired in a very cool way because it's unbelievably neat. Any closing comments for our crowd tonight? For you, I know you need dinner, and but Global CE Day. What would you say to your colleagues?
I think clinical engineers and those human resources that are involved in clinical engineering are extremely, extremely valuable for healthcare to be provided to the world today. So first thing I'm going to say to my colleagues in the fraternity is keep it up. It's because of you that the ventilators in the hospitals keep running, RT-PCR systems keep diagnosing, operation theater lights keep supporting surgical care, and dialysis machines keep patients alive. As much as doctors, nurses, our valuable colleagues in the ecosystem perform, I think the role of clinical engineer has always been behind the scene. And this is a time to recognize that role and acknowledge it on the stage. The second thing I'm going to tell my clinical engineer colleagues is continue to harmonize your skills, continue to look at the clinical engineering skill not in isolation, but as an important integral part in the value chain of healthcare. So learn and teach people who are not like you, but in the value chain as you are. The doctors, the nurses, the technicians, the radioisotope guys, the standard setters, the lab accreditators, the auditors, because all of them need to know the tremendous value clinical engineering is playing. We need to learn a lot from them, and they need to learn and appreciate a lot in us. With these two things, I think we need to work together, support each other, and take advantage of champions like Tom, Yadin, Adriana, so many of friends across the globe, and further this cause of clinical engineering for enhancement of healthcare globally.
Jitenders, thanks so much for your time today.
Absolutely a pleasure, Tom. It's always a
See
pleasure.
you later and hopefully soon.
Absolutely.
Bye for now.
And thanks, Kali. Bye.